You have a free trial camera.
Shut the
Every 30 minutes it turns off.
I know, man. I get the ransomware virus on my own camera. All right, guys. I got Jesus Christ here on the casting couch.
It's me. I've risen.
Christ has risen, bro, and he has riz enough to the point where. Anyway,
I've come back and no one cares.
Hey, I care, bro. You know what? That's why he's here today. Introduce yourself. I'm not gonna steal from your spotlight.
My name's Chris. Should I look at the camera? I think I shouldn't.
Do whatever you feel like, man. You can look at the camera. I think half and half is good. So it's like half looking at the camera, half looking at me. For emphasis.
I'm pretty used to never looking at the camera.
Me too, honestly. It's ironic, right?
But my name's Chris. I major in English. That's about it. That's really it.
Welcome to Jackass.
About myself.
No, I'm just kidding.
I love Jackass.
Oh, Jackass is great, bro. But that's okay. So I called you here today because I met this dude in English, like English and film, and I'm a film major myself. So it's so weird. We've met multiple times, like through mutual friends, and then we just sit next to each other, like in fucking film. Or in like the English class or whatever, and I'm just like, bro, how have we not hung out? Or at least I said that. You just like,
it's just you pass by people.
Yeah, but it's like, no, I think you understand like how some people you just keep running into, but you don't know if they're gonna be your friend. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like you meet a lot of acquaintances when you get older.
Like normally, people make friends just through coincidence. Like it's not really like a thing where like you.
Force it.
Unless you really wanted to, unless like for whatever reason somebody stuck out to you that much that you wanted to like chase them down and be like, yo, can we be friends? I think normally it's just like it just ends up working out that way.
That's true. Like the whole, you can say it's prophecy, fate.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah, this dude.
That kind of goes along with my whole thing that I don't really believe in free will. Yeah.
You don't believe in free will?
Not really, no.
Dude, I completely disagree with that.
It's a very long conversation, obviously, but it's not like a thing where it's like I think that like everyone has their fate written. It's not like that. That's
nothing is predetermined.
No.
Okay.
I don't think anyone thinks of it that way. Who believes free will isn't real? It's more of just like you don't really seem to have much autonomy over what you do. Like if you have one opinion and you believe strongly in that opinion for whatever reason like speaks to you, chances are no one's going to like ever be able to convince you in a conversation otherwise. It kind of feels like the thing that will make you change your opinion is if something, whatever that thing is, like makes you change it. It's kind of like something outside of your control. Whether it be like a personal experience, I think personal experiences are the most profound.
Okay.
Maybe you watch a really good movie, or maybe you read a certain story, you hear a certain song. It's like certain things speak to you in a way that kind
makes you change.
That transcend reason. You kind of can't reason with it. It's kind of like you're just reacting.
Okay.
To it, yeah.
Honestly, like, are you saying how like certain things, like certain experiences, like help shape what you are, but you don't have no control over that? Is that what you're saying?
Part of that, yeah. Part of it's like that, yeah.
Well, I guess that's to a certain extent that's true, but I feel like some people have those experiences where it would change some people, but not them. So, like, do you think? I feel like free will is like somewhere like it's like you need to have a certain amount of like willpower to actually make the most out of those changes that you experience, or those certain like events that shape your life. You know what I mean? Like some dudes, let's say, like, I don't mean to get like too deep or anything. Let's say you're abused by like a parent or something, and it can let it harm you depending on like the degree, or it can let it boost you forward. You know what I mean? Just like, but I guess like the things that if that is like the main event in your life. I guess like whatever happens after that, like what happens supplemental to that moment or that part of your life, whether it's like you're able to get away from them, or you're not being able to get away from them. It's like that can also alter it, I guess. But I feel like regardless of what actually happens, like the hand you're dealt, like you got to make the most of what with your deck, the cards you play or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
The
know.
interesting part that sticks out to me is you saying whether you let it get to you or you don't let it get to you. I think it never actually works that way. I think there's like a really um, important observation that most of the time, if someone's having a really hard problem, the very first step is that that person needs to be open to help in the first place. It doesn't really matter how much you help that person if they're not open to being helped,
Yes.
then they just simply won't be. And it's kind of and like some people, like the example that you bring up, some people, if they go through extreme, well, any abuse is extreme. If someone goes through abuse like that, of course, some people, I don't think let it get to them. I think it just does get to them. It does get to them, and it kind of becomes a part of them for whatever reason.
That's what
And
I mean
then
by like let it get to them. It's like, obviously it's going to get to you in some aspect. Everyone's different, but yeah.
yeah, it's a. I just think it is like I guess it is I guess it is like a important thing to see that you can't choose whether or not you're hurt by something. You just are or you aren't.
That's true.
And however you react to that, it does seem like you don't really have much of a choice in it. I think I guess that's why I enjoy reflection so much, and I think that's why I appreciate stories so much. Is because I think stories, in a way, are a very long and complicated reflection through
Experiences.
the mode of fiction. That's in fiction. I think you're able to talk about things in a way that you can't in conversation, and
Totally.
they kind of just come out of you. They kind of just come out of you. It's almost like the whole thing about stream of consciousness. And some people, when they write, I think the very first, or like some of the first instances of like the birth of literature, like from Bede, which is this guy who wrote the ecclesiastical history of the English people. A lot of them thought of story and literature being things that like kind of came from God. And it was things that like you didn't really have much control over. It's kind of like the immense, obviously in their case they're talking about it through a religious perspective, but I think that can still extrapolate to artistic passion in general, where it just hits you. I think Tolkien had something where he talked about, I forget which chapter it was. I think it was in the third book of the Lord of the Rings, where there was one specific chapter that he wrote about in one of his notes that he kind of like blanked out as he wrote it. It kind of just like, it just appeared in front of him. And once he was done, it felt surreal because when he went back to read it, he doesn't remember writing it. And he thinks that that's the best chapter he wrote in the entire book. I don't know. I think it's just like that where it's not. I don't think it's a sad thing that we don't have free will. I think it's just the way it is.
Or at least you think we don't have free will. I feel like there's like I said, to a certain extent, I feel like it's willpower that allows you to change. And it's like I would argue that willpower is the thing that separates, true change between people that don't change at all.
It's willpower from what, though? I mean, is it possible to conjure up willpower on your own volition? It kind of reminds me. To bring it to like a contemporary example that's like easy to understand. Have you played the game Darkest Dungeon?
I have not.
I think about this a lot, just because I think that the mechanic, I think, kind of goes along with what we're saying here. There's like there's an aspect. It's like a very like punishing game. It's supposed to be like a game that's like unfair. It's like unfairly hard. And one of the things your characters have is like sanity. And once their sanity gets to a certain level, you reach a threshold where the character now has like a sanity check. And your character will either lose their mind and they gain a permanent they gain a permanent effect, negative effect towards that character forever, or they have like a reawakening or a moment of enlightenment. And you get, the vice versa. You get a positive permanent effect. And
is that the game where like you're this guy? It's kind of like it's like you're in a knight costume, and then it's kind of like low FPS, and you're just kind of going through it, fighting monsters and stuff. I think I've seen that game on Steam.
It's like 4 characters, and they walk along.
Oh, it's 4K. Never mind. Is it
It's
not?
like a
It's not
side
first
scroller.
person.
No.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
I mean, obviously, of course, it's silly to compare it to a video game.
No, but
I think the way that it shows, I think the way that it's done there, I think it kind of is similar to how it works in real life. You know, those characters that go through those sanity checks, you have no say in how they respond. It's just their personality and the way they're going to respond, and you kind of just have to deal with it once it happens.
Okay. You see what I'm talking about? This is the kind of stuff we talk about after class, right? It's like, it gets so hella philosophical. We haven't even started the first topic yet, but I get it. The idea of like free will versus fate. It's like, you don't think there's free will because it's just like stuff that you really cannot control. You can't control stuff that goes on outside of your own mind. Because, any multitude of things can happen. But yeah. But to bring it back on track, yeah, man, just like this, we talk about some serious shit, bro, and it's very, very, very inspiring and provocative thinker. This guy is. I'm going to tell you right now. But here, I'm here to ask you a couple things that, because he's a literature professor. He's gonna damn near on track to be a professor. He's a major, hopefully teaching one day,
I'd
right?
like to be.
Yeah, teacher in the making, whatnot. But I'm here to ask him what his top 5 films are. So, because I feel like every time we watch a movie in class, it's just like I'm looking at it through purely like visual, like almost purely visual standpoint. I really just like, I love how like film can like, it's like based on the theory, like the Balazs, like I don't know if did you read that, the Balazs theory?
I actually haven't. No,
you did not. Okay,
what was it about?
Literally, okay. I just pretty much summarizing it. His theory, and I think the professor linked it. Yeah, he did, and it's pretty much just how film theory is really just a window into the human mind through close. The guy was really big on close-ups and how it portrays a lot of emotions that aren't there because a lot of language is just body language. Especially in the moment, like when you're experiencing something, there's like a level of intimacy that can be expressed through facial expressions alone. And that is very profound. And that's why, like Macbeth, that's how like so much of what happens in film is like without even saying anything. It's show, don't tell. That's a core rule in filmmaking. And that's why I feel like sometimes like film has a way of like we're connecting to everybody. It's multicultural. It's unilateral. Everybody can relate to it, whether it breaks cultural boundaries and because due to language, because it's all images. There's nothing more powerful than an image of what someone is experiencing in that time. That's pretty much more or less what it says. I'm a little hazy on it. But I mean, because I just did it last night, but
yeah.
But anyway, that's my like standpoint. He goes it through more of like a textual standpoint. Then I'll probably some filmmaking. I'm not going to say like you're a total dunce when it comes to filmmaking. I want to hear like what your favorite movies are based on, what you like, what you enjoy. It's
funny that you bring all that up to preface this because one of the movies I have is purely only because of a visual reason of why it's a favorite.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a fucking scholar at all to understand film, which is why it appeals to me more. But anyway.
Well, I mean, I think that's changing though.
Yeah,
I think that's changing. I think for a while, and maybe it's still happening, but I think film is slowly starting to become a thing that people take it seriously academically speaking. Of course, people take it seriously all the time. It just depends on the person when they watch like a good movie or whatever.
Exactly.
But I think, kind of like how, Shakespeare, when he was making his plays, back then it was like considered just like it's just a form of entertainment. I think the English language was dying. People thought it was kind of boring until Shakespeare came out, and then he started writing, and then
reimagined the media.
Yeah, he started writing things in ways that was funny and not whimsical, but witty.
Some of it was he wrote comedy, so a lot of it was whimsical in a way.
I wouldn't describe Shakespeare as whimsical though. Maybe some of them.
What are you talking? The witches literally are whimsical beings, bro, in Macbeth.
Whimsical, I feel like, has a connotation of being more like joyous or happy.
You think so?
I think so.
I thought whimsical was just kind of like another synonym for like like supernatural.
No, I don't think so. I think whimsical does have the connotation of like being happy.
Okay. Well, this dude would know, right? I mean, I guess I'm just speaking out of my ass.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does. Whimsical, yeah. But Yeah, I guess. Do you want to start with the?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a. I mean, dude, honestly, here's the thing. Like this is what I was talking about before we even started. Like, you can say whatever the hell you want, bro. It's like this is really there's a loose structure, but it's very, very loose. Talk about literally whatever you want. You talked about Fate for like about 10 minutes, and I fucking loved every second of it, bro.
I think to connect the Fate thing to one of the movies I talked that are
Is
my
this your number
favorite
five, or is this like are you
is
doing it out of order?
they're not really in order except the first one.
Okay,
The only one that's in order is the first one. The rest of them are kind of like you can put them wherever.
you can
and I'd be happy with it.
interchangeably.
Um,
Okay,
but Tenet's definitely one of them.
dude. Honestly, I feel like Tenet gets way too much hate. Like I'm a Tenet. I am definitely a Tenet enjoyer. And I feel like it gets better. It's one of those movies that you just know gets better with every single rewatch because the whole premise itself warrants a rewatch because you don't understand it at first. It's so fucking confusing. But then after a while, I think the ending scene really just like is like a perfect little loop because you're just like, the whole is it fate? Like call it what you want. Like that's an iconic thing between the two. Is just like some things just happen regardless of going backwards or forwards in time. I love that concept. I really do. I just feel like it was just such a jarring concept, and obviously, like Nolan's sound design is pretty controversial because it's like so much shit going on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People say it's Nolan's weakest movie, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Sorry, I'm yapping. Go ahead.
Well, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think watching it a second time, it's more than just that the movie's complicated. It's also like when you watch it a second time, you're almost, I guess, not almost, I think you are. You're committing a temporal pincer movement when you watch it a second time.
Is that what they say
doing,
in the?
You're doing exactly what the teams were doing in the fight. You're going back to the beginning, knowing what's happening, and because you know what's happening, you'll notice things that you didn't notice last time, which is exactly how that whole fight's going on. Like they know the tower's falling, and they wait because they know the tower's gonna fall, and they shoot a rocket launcher, and the tower like goes back up. It's like a really weird scene.
So cool.
It's a really weird scene where like they know what's going to happen, and so they act accordingly. And I think when you watch it a second time, you're also participating in that temporal pincer movement,
bro.
I think it's really interesting. It's a really cool movie. I think it's one of the only, it's one of the only stories that I know that really expresses that that
idea of fate. You think?
Not fate, just the idea, just the I think it's the idea in metaphysics of where all events are like in this big box, and everything exists in this big. I forget what it's called, but every event takes place in this box, and there's no connection between any of it. Things just like events are just taking place, things are just happening, and that's kind of it. I think that's a idea that's a little difficult to understand and to visualize, but I think Tenet does it very well.
I think I know exactly. I've probably heard of what you're saying. There's a word for exactly what you're trying to get at, and I knew it at one point, but I forgot. It's like something. It's like a realm of possibilities, right? Is what you're saying? Like anything can. Is that what you're saying? Like anything could happen any which way. It's just like there's a certain every event is like. It's like not to say enclosed, but just kind of like and I don't know.
It's there already. All the events are there, and they occur the way they occur for no other reason than just that's how they occurred. There's like, I think a lot about how strange time is in the way that it doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't
to treat it so literally, and what I mean by that is right now, we're both. I'm 22. I don't know if you're 22 also.
I'm 23.
I'm 22. You're 23, and if you think about it hard enough, you can really go back to when you were 10 years old, and when you're in that moment, it feels very strange to proclaim to yourself now in the present moment that my moment now is more present than that 10-year-old's moment. Because 10 years from now, when I'm 32 and you're 33, we're going to think the exact same thing. And who am I to say, as my present self, to say that my now is more present than my 33-year-old version's now?
Yeah.
I think that whole idea of time is captured so well in Tenet. That's why I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
I've never
Well,
seen
I'm gonna
anything.
check the recording. You're saying like that's the reason why you like Tenet is because
Yeah,
everything is like a single instance. You're just like, are you talking about like awareness of time, like the because you can just after a certain point, like you can always have like a
it's like the disregard of time is more of what it is. I think Einstein said this or wrote it. He might have wrote it. I forget. I think it wasn't a paper that I was reading about Tenet. Funnily enough, it was it was Einstein saying that time is, for any physicist, time is like um a known joke. I don't think he can use the word joke, but he does say that, like, every physicist understands that time is not a real thing, and that time is only going to be a thing that, like, people who don't understand what they understand are going to concern themselves with. Because once you know the things that they know, you kind of, like, it's impossible to treat time with, like, any sense of, like, seriousness other than just relative. Of course, time is helpful in a relative context. Like, I had to get here at 12 p.m.
Yeah, like sort of like when it comes to deadlines and like setting goals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but like
in a more general sense, it doesn't really mean anything.
That makes sense because, like, I guess I'm sure with men like those, like, they really understand. It's like, oh, okay, so it's just a construct. Is that what you're saying? Time is just a construct.
Yeah, time is a construct. Really, all that happens is that the sun goes down and it comes up. Nowhere is there really an hour in that process. We kind of just attributed an hour to it.
Like the whole daylight savings thing, it just happens.
Yeah, it just happens.
Like it just like at sometimes the sun sets at 7, sometimes the sun sets at 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the concept of time is very convenient and it's helpful. But in a very capital T truth, it probably doesn't exist. I think Tenet captures that very well.
By breaking the mold, by going back in time just to prove that instance, right? Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
So he's just playing with the idea of time as a I don't even know, like any sort of event.
Yeah.
More of an event than a construct. I don't know. Like,
I think they like in Tenet they don't even call it time travel. They just say that it's reversing the entropy of objects, which is a better way of putting it. It's a truer way of putting it because time travel doesn't.
Maybe that's why it's so confusing. I think what Nolan and what you are getting at is like how time.
Oh, don't put me with Nolan. I don't know.
No, but I feel like you understand the fact that he's trying to say that, like, time is just like we depend too much on just the linear aspect of time. How we see time, like stuff happen. Like this is supposed to happen at 1. This is supposed to happen at 2 o'clock or 2 p.m., 1 a.m., whatever. But like any amount of possibilities could happen. But like time is just like a way how we track it. You know what I mean? Just like time itself is just.
It's a tool for us.
Almost man-made. Yeah. It is man-made. It's not even almost. It's just like, because no matter like, because think about it, like, does the world end if like we just change from military time? No. It's just a new way to track it. You know what I mean? I might be oversimplifying it, but like, I just feel like the aspect of time is just something that is so complex that we just it helps us understand it better by attributing it with like a tracking, like hours or like numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it makes life easier to have time.
Totally.
As a concept. But the next movie, totally just purely off of visual, and it's actually a movie that most people actually don't like. But it's Avatar. Actually, I really enjoy Avatar, and it's purely visual. Of course, the story is like forgettable. It's dull and kind of boring. It's just a whatever story about evil military guys taking over land.
Did you not like my pink shirt guy's take on?
I know you guys didn't like it, but I don't remember exactly.
I just thought it was overrated because it is just like, because I think it's purely due to the fact that like we're so used to those kind of films now, like those big CGI spectacles, that it just seems like, oh yeah, this is the first one. But really, that movie did change the way that modern blockbusters are made, bro.
And that's why it's like my favorite. Yeah. I don't know if you watched it in theaters. I did, And even as a kid, like even as I think what was I like 6 years old when it came out, and I watched it in theaters. Even at that point, I still I don't know. It's like it was a very magical moment watching that movie. It felt like I was watching that was real in a way that nothing else felt like. To see something like this grand and this
Colorful.
foreign and colorful and like, and it convinced me so much. Like the scenes, like the subtle scenes where I don't remember the main character's name. You know, Exhibit A. The character, the story's kind of
Sam?
forgettable. I don't know, but he's walking around in his avatar form, and I love like this kind of scenes where like all the plants are up there and he's walking through them, and he kind of like inches towards with his finger and he touches it, and the plant just like sinks into the ground, and there's no explanation as to why that happened. It just happens, and he doesn't really ask the other girl why it's happening. It's just going on, and then like with their the way that they kind of have intimacy with like the hair, putting the hair together, and like
Mm-hmm.
the way it like really, I don't know, so much about the movie is
Hair
just
sex.
so visually remarkable and like awesome, and yeah, and there of course is a bias where it's like it's a bias, but I think it's a meaningful bias where it's like it's the first movie that's ever like really done that. To have that when I remember watching it in theater, like I've seen that movie so many times. We watched it in theaters.
Did you like the second one?
It was okay.
Because you can't beat the first one.
Because the novelty of the first one was that it was like a big visual
spectacle.
But the second one, of course, now it exists in a context where that's normal, like you said.
Totally normal.
But yeah, Avatar, like it's unforgettable the feeling I had when I first watched it.
To be honest, man, this might be like a little controversial, but I feel like Avatar did not invent spectacle to me, like that the kind of spectacality. Because I feel like there's tons of spectacle like films where it has like that sort of grandiose like visuals and stuff like that. Like I mean, not to sound like a fucking uber nerd or anything. When it comes to CGI, like Transformers made big strides. There was like there was really good CGI and like the old like comic book type movies and like what do you call it, like, and hell, even like just stuff like that. It was like, I mean, I wouldn't say like they definitely broke the mold. Like they used new technology to create like more realistic CGI. But I feel like if they're to say that like Avatar was like the spectacle film to break the mold is, I think, is pushing it just a little bit. You know what I mean? I just think it's probably just the hype and the money that went into it, which is what justified why it was so impactful. And that's just my opinion. It was good, and I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It was definitely had a lot of that budget went to good use, and it used new technologies, new cameras, shit like that.
There's more things that someone could talk about that I wouldn't know, but there's just something that like I'll just again never forget. When I first watched that movie in theaters.
Oh yeah,
I'll never forget that feeling of like it felt so magical in a way that Transformers doesn't. In a way that past Marvel movies didn't. Like it felt truly magical, like I was peering into a world that didn't exist. But at the same time, I was almost being convinced that it did.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, for me personally, I treat it as the movie that really did that for the first time.
And I totally respect that, man, because like at the end of the day, it's like it's your list, and like you can't argue how you feel, man, especially when it comes to this.
Yeah,
we all know
that. We all know that.
Yeah, you can never argue how you feel, bro. But like for me, it's still 0 out of 10 because there's no "shut up, grandma" like in Transformers. No,
Transformers is a really great movie as well, though.
I mean,
the first Transformers is really amazing,
dude. Sam Witwicky, bro. Like fucking Shia LaBeouf, bro. Can we just talk about how like this dude had A1 facial acting when it comes to like completely? This dude was looking at nothing while filming.
He was really good at just crashing out,
dude.
Just for
without
any inspiration. Yeah, he just couldn't turn that on.
Dude, him kicking the fucking car.
It's very interesting. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Dude, I'm pretty sure he was on. I'm convinced he was on coke, like while filming that. But anyway, we're getting off track. After Avatar, number 3. Right? I mean, midway through, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the last 3 were. I know one of them is A Silent Voice. That's
I
the next
love
one.
that movie. That's my favorite anime movie of all time. I gotta give you Nux for that. I gotta
I
give you
agree.
Nux.
I
I gotta give you
agree.
Nux.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Um,
Dude,
I
it's
think that
beautiful.
I remember one time one of my friends said that. I mean, he meant it as a joke, but with him and his friend would talk about the movie and say that you kind of it's kind of funny to get sad at the movie because like at the end of the day you're just like it's just some guy, it's just like a guy bullying a deaf girl and like you're sympathizing with him, like why are you getting sad over that, but that's the point, like that is the point where like
Exactly.
it's him as a dumb kid making fun of something that he doesn't understand, something that's like foreign to him, a deaf person, which when you're a kid, if you don't grow up with somebody like that, it's going to be very strange to you. And as a kid, unfortunately, kids can be cruel.
Kids are
And
very, especially in Japan too, where bullying is just like it was just kind of commonplace over there. More. I mean, it's kind of commonplace everywhere, but I feel like Japan had always. I mean, I don't know. They kind of framed it where it's just like kids can be cruel in Japan as well. I don't know. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know. But yeah,
I think bullying is universal.
it's definitely universal. Yeah.
But yeah, that movie's heartbreaking. Like
It wasn't just him either. I mean, to be fair, like he was the worst offender for damn sure. But like the Shoya, the guy who's called everybody else out because they didn't understand. They also didn't understand the deaf girl. I forgot her name. It's
I don't remember their names either.
Oh my
I
god!
don't remember their names
I just
either.
remember I watched it pretty recently. That's why I know his name. But anyway, the deaf girl, like they, everybody, it was jarring to everybody, and then the teacher got frustrated, and then I feel like that's part of the reason why he was the worst offender because you know he was just the one that went a little too overboard, but he was just kind of doing it for everybody because like dealing with having a deaf girl in class, sadly, is like it causes some reaccommodations and it just like and that's probably why it played into the fact that she was depressed all the time because she doesn't want to be a burden. And I just thought that like, everything just kind of just coalesced into like one. I don't know. It just like the way it all tied back in at the end was fantastic.
And she's only a burden because people aren't open to understanding her.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
the only reason why she's
It's not
a
her
burden.
fault.
And of course, like you say, by the end of it, she's surrounded by people who do finally understand her. And at the same time, the guy who bullied her, he also gains, of course, a profound realization where like all the X's fall from the people's faces. And I think that's him
Placing trust in people. Yeah, I feel like this is something I realized like after rewatching. So I think where you're going, I don't know. I could be going somewhere else completely, but I feel like his problem was that he was always looking for approval for other people when he was younger, which is why he was like, you see, as the most popular kid in class, and then he bullies her because he sees that everybody like is annoyed by her presence in some aspect, and then so he's just kind of like he sees that, and then so he becomes the worst offender. And then after that, like he goes too far, he gets shunned out by his peers, and then his old friends would talk trash behind his back, and then pretty much start rumors about him, and it just caused him to be shut off from society or socialization completely. Which is why the whole motif of him just looking at the ground all the time, the X's, and because of that, it caused him to like analyze his past and just kind of like, and that was kind of that kind of sparked this whole his shift, his change, like his arc, and where he just wants to like redeem himself because like he just wants to like get to the reason behind like, oh, how can I make up for this because I'm so miserable now because I made this one mistake. To him, that bullying that deaf girl was his giant mistake because it ruined his life. Which is like you can argue if that's a selfish reason or not because like, oh, I'm only like she ruined my life because I was mean.
I think it's not fair to talk about it though. Every decision, if you want to be anal enough about it, is selfish. Every single motivation, every single thing that you do, it's selfish. Everything.
Yeah.
You do, I think it's not fair. It's not fair to even talk about that. Because certainly in that context, he's doing a very selfless thing. It's so selfless that he literally almost kills himself. Helping
Chop and trying to save her.
He literally almost kills himself trying to do that. I don't think it's selfish at all. And I think anyone who tries to like paint someone as being selfish in a situation like that is just being weird.
Yeah. What I mean, like, I'm not saying I wasn't trying to go to. I personally don't think he's selfish at all. I just think other people, you could, I guess, you can see that as selfish because it's probably started. It probably did start selfishly, like how you're saying, everyone's inherently selfish. But then, like, he through that, he realized like how much he truly appreciates this person and how wrong he was. And
in one way, yeah, I can see that because he tried to kill himself.
yeah,
And killing yourself is, I think,
that's right in the beginning of the movie.
Is a very selfish act to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very selfish act to do. So yeah, I do see, and then obviously his mom, gets mad at him. I think that helps him realize that it's not just him who's going to be gone and is going to be the only one that's affected. Of course, his mom's going to be affected. It's like offensive to her that he would even think that like giving her all of his money would provide even a semblance of comfort with his absence.
It's pretty much just him like learning like what true companionship and what true love really is. Like not just like romantic love, but like just love of just like, of everyone around him, friendship. It's like it definitely is a movie about love and acceptance. I feel like self-acceptance, self-love, love for friends, love for family, and just like it's a total spiritual reawakening, which I just there's so many things, and it's such a hopeful movie because it's dark. You can really only do a hopeful tale justice by going to really dark places, which is explore suicide and bullying and stuff like that. It has the lowest of lows and the highest of highs, and that's why I respect that story so goddamn much. And I do feel like the movie does a better job at like nailing the themes better than the actual manga too, because I did like watch a video on. I haven't read the manga either, but I saw this video about this guy deep diving into it and how he was saying like how the movie is way better than the book because it just kind of adds more. Like there's some context. It gives some characters more of a role, like some minor characters, but it just kind of loses the point a little bit because just to try to get sales or whatever, because it kind of just gets away from the theme. So anyway, really beautiful story. So I mean, it's one of my favorites too. That's why I'm talking so much about it. But keep going.
No, that's fine. I forget what the other one was, actually.
The other movie?
Yeah, because that's 3 that I mentioned. Fuck, what was it?
Was it No Country?
No,
that's all I heard.
Definitely not No Country. Not that I hate that movie, but
that movie is good, but it's not one of my favorites.
Oh, dude, how can I forget about that movie? That's almost my favorite. But it's for personal reasons that the real first is my real favorite. But the next movie, I think, and now to put this would okay, so I lied. The only 2 positions that are concrete is the second and first position.
Okay.
And the second position is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay.
That's the second position.
The donut.
The bagel.
The bagel. Oh, that's right.
the bagel of nothingness.
Yes.
Which I think to me is like it's the symbol of absurdism.
Dude, that shit made me cry.
Complete and utter absurdism. I think something that really pulls me towards that movie, because of course, a large part of the movie is about the immigrant experience, which I have like an immigrant experience, which is not like that. It isn't like that. But the thing that I do get very drawn to is Joy. Pretty sure that's her name, right?
It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah.
I think her going through all of the multiverses, and when Ray talks about the variant version of Ray, the one that like understands the multiverses that are going on, he describes the daughter as someone who has gone through so many multiverses, someone who has gone through so many situations, has seen so many things, has done so many things, that she has reached a point of nothing. There's nothing going on, like nothing. In the truest of ways, nothing has meaning because she's firsthand experienced everything that there is. And I think to me that can be extrapolated to the internet experience of someone who grows up on the internet. I think
so?
that the daughter is somebody who if you're to take it in like a real concept, if you're to treat it as an allegory,
Tying
I
it
think
to like
her going through all of
real life.
multiverses is like
The
being
internet.
put in front of a computer at the age of 4 or the age of 3, whatever it may be, and like from that very point,
I agree.
and you have no parental supervision. You're able to see anything and everything
Because
all at once, right? You're able to see everything's there, and there's no one there to stop you.
No,
And
I
you
agree.
have all of the worst depraved ideas and visuals and everything you could think of. But at the same time, you also have really wonderful things on the internet. You have everything. But I think when you grow up like that, it does that to you, or it does make it, or it can do that to you.
there's a disconnect between the traditional values of the mom and then the daughter, because like if you're bringing in the internet allegory, like she was raised when like I'm pretty sure I don't know this for sure, but she was raised in country, right, in the U.S., where she's obviously going to have like different values because she was raised without the content or without the she wasn't really they deal with so much as the immigrant problems as her parents did. So
She wasn't as connected to the Chinese heritage as her mother was.
exactly.
She kind of made up her own culture.
Yeah.
She made up her own culture.
And there was a disconnect between them, and that was like the core of the conflict.
There's an extreme, profound disconnect there between the two, and I love that the answer to it is a very absurdist answer. It's the mom just says, "I love you," and that's all there is to it. There's no explanation. I'm not going to reason with you of why I love you. I'm not going to There's no reason why I love you other than I do, and the daughter, of course, is very touched by that. And I say that it's a very absurdist conclusion because, I think that's what Camus is doing with Sisyphus, where like you just imagine him happy because you can, because you just do it. If you can do that, or if you want to do it, why not do it?
Because are you saying that because she said I love you, or just because of the whole multiverse thing as a whole, or just
the whole multiverse thing is like is the absurdity that's going on, and because of all that absurdity, it makes it very difficult to
understand that she loves her daughter at the end of the day.
It makes it difficult to have meaning in the world. It makes it difficult to have meaning in ideas like good or bad, or anything like that. And everything seems to be relative now if you get exposed to everything that there is by firsthand experience. So that's why I think she got so obsessed with this bagel. She wants to put everything on this bagel, because that's everything can fit on it. Everything can fit on it, and look at it, it's a void. But then, of course, the mom, through no reason other than she wants to, loves her. That's it. And I think Ray also has a similar thing as well, like where everyone's fighting, and then he, not the variant Ray, but the I guess present Ray,
like the Earth One Ray or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
He, during while they're all fighting, he kind of gets like not tired of it, but he just like kind of like screams and proclaims like, why is everyone fighting?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you guys just all be happy?
They're losing sight
and listen to each other. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening, but I'd like it if we could just all talk.
No, dude, that's like,
and yeah, I think I love that movie a lot. I think
it's like the ultimate love story, and it's like it's definitely an ultimate love story because like despite all this absurd shit going on, it can be I like that the way they frame it is just like the multiverse can be any sort of conflict between mother, daughter, or family, and then have the multiverse can be any sort of problem you can have with a daughter or your family member or anybody. And I love how they did that, and like obviously with a little bit of flair and like personality thrown in, like the filmmaking style, which makes it more entertaining, and then have the resolution of that conflict just being like a reminder that like despite anything that can go on in this world, I still love you. That's amazing.
Yeah,
and that's why I cry. That's why I think I got teared up towards the end. I remember
No,
I watched it on the
cried
plane.
also.
Though.
That's a really sad movie.
I wish I could have watched it in a theater, bro. Because like that, the audio was so choppy on the plane, bro. I watched it on the plane.
I think I've seen it 3 times. I think each time I've cried. Each time.
Damn.
When I watched it, yeah, it's incredibly sad.
I gotta watch it again.
And then the
in a good way, though.
Yeah,
it's sad in a good way.
Yeah, I think yeah. Yes. But the next one, you might not know it, and this is the movie that like I tend to like. I kind of don't really say that it's my favorite because most people don't really know this movie. So it just feels kind of like it feels kind of worthless to bring it up.
What do you mean worth? Okay, well, just what is it?
But it's well, I think it's worthless because usually if you're like in a conversation and someone asks you like what's your favorite movie, I think you would it'd be better for you like
to bring up a movie that most people are familiar with.
In a conversation sense, it'd be better to bring up a movie that people know. So I would say like Tenet or Everything Everywhere.
Well, this is not the place to do that. So what is it?
Exactly. So that's why I was like, I guess I can talk about this movie.
Yeah.
But it's a Nicolas Cage movie. Actually, the only Nicolas Cage movie I've seen ever.
Ghost, right? No, I'm
just kidding. I've actually seen Long Legs also.
Okay.
That movie's okay. But no, I think I'm just lying for no reason. I've seen Ghost Rider. I've seen I've seen that one where he's a detective, I think. Something like that. But the one that I'm talking about is a movie called Pig. And it came out in 2021, I think.
Okay.
And
I haven't heard of it.
In a nutshell, what the movie's about, it's a guy, Nicolas Cage, and he's playing the grumpy old dude. He's playing the grumpy old lonely guy, and all his life is he's in the woods. He's got a cabin, and he has a truffle pig, and this truffle pig just helps him look for truffle. And he gets all the truffle, and he just sells it to this guy who comes over to his cabin to pick up the truffle, and that's how he lives. That's his life. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have family. He doesn't have anything other than that pig. But then he also has like this recording of his wife, who you assume has passed away. And then bad things happen. The pig gets stolen. The truffle pig gets stolen. And he spends the rest of the movie just looking for it. And he forces the guy who picks up the truffle, which is like this really rich, materialist guy who cares about all the things that Nicolas Cage's character could not care less about. But he's forced to work with him because Nicolas Cage's character thinks that this guy can help him because he understands what's going on in the truffle business. So he's like, maybe you could help me find my pig. But throughout the movie, there's like constant moments where, the old guy is like unapologetically himself and expressing his like really deep hatred for technology. And he's a very extreme Luddite. And like they get into the car, and the materialist guy wants to like turn on the radio, and then without saying anything, the old guy just like turns it off. He just turns it off. He doesn't say anything, and another guy gets mad about it. He turns it back on because it's his radio. And then the old guy just like kind of looks at him. Still doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks at him.
Okay.
And then he turns it off, and then he just like looks away. And now I think they keep it off. And it's like there's so many small moments like that. Like there's this other moment. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil the movie. There's this other moment where they get into like a dark area, and the materialist guy wants to take out his phone to use it as a flashlight. And the old dude like very simply just tells him off. It's like, dude, you don't have to do that. Your eyes are going to adjust. Just let it adjust. And it does. It does adjust, and they're able to see in the environment that they're in. And that movie hits me so incredibly hard because you find out that the old guy wasn't always like that. You find out he wasn't always a huge Luddite. He wasn't always lonely. You actually find out he's quite popular actually in the place that they go to try to look for the truffle pig. Everybody knows his name once they find out who he is. He's a legend. But he dropped all that stuff and he stopped caring because the only thing that he did care about
was a pig.
Was gone. Before that
was his wife.
Is his wife, yeah. That movie is.
He's unapologetically himself.
In my opinion, that movie I don't know. It's incredibly fucking profound. Um, it's something that I don't think I wouldn't really recommend it to people because the movie I think has like okay ratings. I think it has like a six,
Doesn't matter, man.
like a six or maybe a seven. But I don't know why that movie hit me so hard. I really don't know why. Um, something about it. Something about the way that the old guy like acts, I guess, and the situation that he's in. And there's just one conversation that I really enjoy that happens in a restaurant where the old guy recognizes the head chef as somebody who used to work under him,
Mm.
and he starts questioning him about like why does he even have this restaurant? Because he's asking him, he's like, didn't you want to open up like a bar or something? Isn't that what your big dream was? And then for some reason I remember his name, Derek, the head chef. He starts talking about like yeah, he didn't want to have this bar. He even had like the main dish memorized and prepared because the old guy asked him what was going to be the main dish, and he says it without even stuttering. Um, and the old guy kind of like tells him like, why didn't you do that? Like, why are you here doing this?
Oh, okay.
It's,
So I think I'm getting like the sense that this movie, like the main character, just kind of represents just being genuine and just not like adhering to what society deems as valuable, but rather what he deems as valuable, right?
yeah,
And that's very fucking profound. I feel like we need more of that.
yeah,
We need a lot more of that because in a ever as the world just gets more and more online and like binary and like digital, then it's harder to become like be authentic and just everyone's opinions and beliefs just kind of blend into each other now. We don't really speak for ourselves as much anymore. Like it's like I guarantee you, like most people just look at the comments on like a certain like post on Instagram or hell, if they just see like or if before they even forge their own opinion about anything, they go online, they see what everyone else is saying, and then they form their opinion off of that. It's not even just a social media thing. I feel like any sort of thing, they either go on Google, Chat GPT. You know what I mean? I don't know if like that's what the movie is getting at. I haven't seen it myself, but it just sounds like it has those kind of themes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Have some agency. We need to be better. The younger generations need to have our own agency.
It's not younger; it's everybody. It's
Well,
like that's part of the reason why I love No Country for Old Men because a really big part of that movie is like acknowledging how the older generation gets left behind.
and then I woke up.
Yeah.
So,
I think everyone ought to care more. This is something that is because it's just about being human. It's not really about like
everybody has their own talent. Like even if you do that thing where you look at everyone else's opinion, why? Like just like I know even the most like sheepish dude on planet Earth that just follows everybody else. They have their own opinion. They just keep it to themselves. You gotta break the mold. I mean, you know what I mean?
and some people are okay with just being a part of a society. Not everyone needs to be somebody who has like big dreams, but when someone does, like Derek in that scene, when someone does have big dreams like that,
Don't be a Derek. Be a pig.
You should go after doing that. You should strive to accomplish that dream because, who cares if you become successful doing something else? If you have that big of a dream that you care so deeply about, where you're able to remember the dish, like tens of years later without even stuttering, without like he says it immediately. So clearly it means so much to him. And in that situation, it's like, why didn't you do that? Like, what a shame that all this time has passed and you didn't do that.
I know. It's like we only have one life. Trying to make the most, don't settle. Like, especially when it comes to your dream. He was so close. I don't know why he didn't just go the extra mile. You know what I mean? That's probably what the old guy was telling him. But yeah.
Yeah, because obviously, this guy Derek's able to make something of himself because he made a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's just the restaurant doesn't speak to him. He's making and selling food to people who could not care less about him. And as a response, he doesn't care about them either.
Mm.
And that, again, there are people that not everyone needs to be someone who does things like that for them. So people are like, there are some people who are content with just being a part of society. There are people who exist like that. In a way, the old guy became that person. in a way, he became that person where because he lost the things that he really cared about, he couldn't keep going anymore. So he just became a part of society. And the way that he became a part of it, he's just like the guy who hunts truffle and sells it.
Cares about his pig.
Yeah, that's really all it is. And like he doesn't care about what's happening in the rest of the world. He just wants to be a part of it, and that's it. But when he looks at someone like Derek, it kind of breaks his heart.
It means something because at least the old guy, society values the old guy because deep down, everybody can respect and relate to having your own voice and standing for what you believe in. Those are your top 5. Just real quick, list them all real quick.
What were they? It was Tenet.
You won't believe the last one. I'm just kidding.
It's honestly, I don't think I've ever mentioned Pig to anyone and they knew what I was talking about immediately.
Well,
I think it's one of those movies that like it's like I don't even know how I came across it. I just like saw it and I don't know, I just watched it. But yeah, my top 5 are.
I feel like that movie, like that Pig, is. Ever seen Detachment?
Mm-mm.
You would like that movie. It's about a substitute teacher, being a substitute for these kids, and but like he doesn't. He's a very capable teacher, but he doesn't have a main position because he's a sub B, and it's like his role, his occupation, kind of plays into like the conflict that he deals with. Is like he can't like commit himself to any sort of relationship, not one from his grandfather, not one from his students, not one from his relationships. He's very detached, but he also preaches about being connected. So it's like it's a paradox, and it's like the reason why it's not the greatest movie is because it kind of just loses. He is the main character, but they kind of just go around like it's kind of like a half social commentary about the school system in the U.S. And it can be a little edgy, but I feel like a lot of it's very true. But it's it's quite profound. I feel like it's kind of underrated. And it's like really, the guy's an English professor and teaches. I think you would definitely 100% like. And Adrian Brody's in it. Fantastic film in my opinion, but it's on my top 10, but it's not my top 5. It is like it kind of loses the plot a little bit, but the way that they stray away from the main plot is still good. But anyway, give that a watch. That movie is my Pig, but it's not my favorite.
But you wouldn't put it as your favorite?
It's in my top 10, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's like it's up there, but it's like not my favorite. My favorite is Spider-Man 2, bro. Childhood favorite movie. Literally, that is the one movie why that movie alone is like what caused me to like love cinema. Is like because like it just has such a great written plot. Characters are great. Everything ties back into the theme of balance and responsibility and accountability and shit like that. I can go on and on, but yeah, I'm not gonna. It's not about my list; it's about yours.
Well, I mean, you can talk about Spider-Man.
I've talked about it so many times on my channel already, bro. I don't think anybody wants to. I'm done. I need a break from glazing it. I'm sorry. I'm good.
I unfortunately have no opinion on it. 'Cause I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're kind of comic illiterate. I mean, you're not illiterate, but like kind of comic noob, I guess, like kind of comic virgin.
I'm ignorant to comics.
Yeah, ignorant comic guy. But that's good. I feel like
ignorant comic is a different phrase. That's funny though. Ignorant comic.
Ignorant comic.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like a lot of comics are ignorant.
That's why it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I do. This is a huge digression.
Comics like comedians,
but
right?
Okay. I think the comedy scene is very. It sucks.
It does.
For lack of better, to not get into it too much, it just sucks. But
it sucks because. Why do you think it sucks?
Because they're so full of themselves. They're so utterly full of themselves. Like you look at a guy like Bert Kreischer, someone who has been telling the same machine story for like his whole career, which is fine, whatever. Like that's what gets him stuff. But then he goes then he treats like what he's doing is something that is like he's like the last bastion of free speech, and he's the one in the front lines like defending people's opinions, and it's like, dude, calm down. It's like it's not.
Like you're not him, buddy.
it just seems so weird. Like I remember Joe Rogan talked about, like, he like has like people make fun of him because he said that one thing where it's like there's only like 250 comics left in the world, and like he's one of them, when he is not funny at all. um but yeah, you have guys like Andrew Schultz and Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, people that are just like so utterly full of themselves.
Joe Rogan is not funny.
I like people like Stavros. Someone like Stavros who understands his position in society, where he's like, dude, like, I'm not saying anything like genuinely meaningful. Like, I guess you could get meaning, obviously, from my comedy. Like, obviously, there are jokes that they're funny. I think Wittgenstein wrote that like most serious things are most serious and depressing things are like expressed through jokes, through comedy,
Totally.
which can be true. Like Kafka, I think Kafka, he when he was writing like some of his saddest stories, his neighbors complained because he would be laughing so loud. Like you can imagine him writing Metamorphosis, and like he's at the part where the guy that turned into a fucking roach, and he's just like he's crying, laughing about it. Because like, what else can you do but laugh when you're in faced with a situation that's that bleak?
Okay,
But
I feel like you can't really say that without talking about the Joker, because I feel like that's kind of like the same idea, right? That's his whole character is
yeah, it is
becoming like he. There's this argument. It's kind of I'm kind of straying away from the path a little bit, but hopefully you'll go with me on this. But the Joker is like has been there's a controversy between like, is Joker insane or is he super sane? And there's like a lot of comic writers kind of dive into that idea where it's just like sometimes like the Joker can be full of truth, and that's the reason why like he laughs all the time, is because like he's has this awareness that most people don't. And there's also other interpretations where they don't agree with him at all, and he's just a totally insane clown. Both works. They both, I feel like, work for the character because they both kind of embody what he represents. And in terms of like his relationship to Batman, his relationship to order itself, and his relationship to his role, and like when it comes to him being a villain.
how would you define Super-Sane?
Super-Sane as in like he knows, like there's narrations where like he knows like he's in a comic, but like that's kind of meta. But like other than that, like he knows like why people, like he sees like how shitty of a city Gotham is, and he just tries to like I don't know, just kind of like in the movie Joker. Like there's also some interpretations where he's like a kind of like some guy that's just lost so much where he just can't help but laugh anymore. He just like has to, I'm not saying like he's like some sort of ideology. I'm not going where he's like some sort of idol where he needs to idolize or whatever or relate to, but he's just lost so much where he's like the ultimate victim of like disorder in cities and stuff, and just the crime, the rampant crime rate and like this in Gotham and shit like that.
Would you describe Joker and the 2019 Joker as Super-Sane the same way that, like, I don't know, but the comic versions of the Joker that you were referencing earlier, like,
yes, that kind of Joker,
is Super-Sane the same in those two instances?
Super-Sane as in like he was made. He wasn't always that way. Like he was at once like a Joe Schmo with he was a chemist. He had a loving wife, lost everything. The killing joke aspect.
So Super-Sane is somebody who
was lost so much, like a tragic character, really. Like I say Super-Sane because in the comic, like in the comics, like he's been referred to as Super-Sane, but like that, and I'm just kind of going at it from like a comic background. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's obviously not fucking sane at all. He's insane but he was driven insane rather than always being like this insane person.
Well, no, I'm biting at the first Super-Sane because I understand there's a difference between Super-Sane and insane. So I'm trying to like understand what that is, because I think when you attach it to Joker 2019, I feel hesitant to call it that, only because Joker 2019 feels so realistic. It doesn't. Joker 2019 is, if we're talking about, I think there's different levels of fiction, and I think when something is treated with realism the way Joker 2019 is, it feels, unless you're doing a magical realism thing, which of course you can, but if something is as realistic as I think Joker was, I hesitate trying to attach ideas like Super-Sane to somebody like that, because what's happening in that movie is so real that it could happen in real life. I mean, it pretty much did. I kind of look a lot. I look at Joker a lot like Charles Manson. Like that's like Charles Manson is somebody who like that's literally what happened to him. He had parents who constantly abused him all the time. He went to boarding school, and in there he got made fun of. He got made fun of so much, that he developed this strategy. I think it was called like going crazy, and he would pretend like he was insane so that people would leave him alone. He would just pretend to go all wacky and crazy so that people would stop pestering him and like bothering him. And then he lives a whole life of like petty theft, petty crime. He's amongst drug dealers, drug addicts, and prostitutes, and of course living that life that you're gonna see people die in really violent ways, whether it's through ODing or through people stabbing each other. Charles Manson, he experienced all of this stuff, and of course he did what he did. He committed, well, he technically he didn't murder them, but he's definitely the person who probably orchestrated it. And I would hesitate to call him Super-Sane.
Okay.
I understand that it's just obviously in this instance it's because it's real, it literally happened. But I understand where he's coming from. Like I think there's this really amazing thing that he says in one of the interviews where he's talking about
Joaquin Phoenix,
Charles Manson, where the interviewer is asking him if he feels bad or remorse about what he did, and then he kind of like he has moments in a lot of interviews where he kind of breaks because really think about it in his perspective. I guess you can kind of relate it to Joker is the point. He's coming from, again, that world where like nobody gives a fuck about him. Like he's been amongst homeless people his whole life. He's been among people who society throws away and forgets about all the time, and that's who he's grown up with. So he kind of tells the interviewer where he kind of starts mocking her, and he's like, dude, you guys keep asking me if I feel bad or if I feel remorse because like what? Just because like a couple like rich people died? Like who cares? I've seen people die all the time, and you people never care. Like it's like you're attributing all these things, calling me demonic, calling me Satan, like because you don't understand me, but I don't understand you either. And it's one of those moments that's like, wow,
damn.
And it's like I think it hit me really hard, but still I'm not going to call him Super-Sane, but I do look at the situation where the thing to take away from it is that there are people who are unfortunately forced into that situation where they become undesirables in society. Even if people don't like to use that word, the reality is that these people are here, these people are there, and like no one cares. And of course it gets political. It gets political very quickly. Where there should be more care for these people, there should be more things done for them. Because it's a huge problem, or else more Charles Mansons will happen. And he kind of talks about that. Where there's gonna be more people like me, because there's gonna be people who watch like movies like Rambo, and like they're gonna go out and become Rambo, like
in Taxi Driver.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a complicated and really bleak situation. Yeah. That's to go back again. That's why I'm asking: would you apply the Super-Sane concept to the Joker of 2019? Where I feel like it's a much more realistic expression of Joker, almost to the point where like the Joker name is only there just to like get popularity. Like it really could like just be a random person, and the story would be the exact same. It doesn't need to be Joker.
Yeah, they went to the aspect where Joker could be anybody.
Yeah,
like the embodiment of people that have of the system, like the corrupt system, or of the people that have lost so much, where like they become the next Charles Manson, and because they just become what do you call it, like discarded by society, or what do you say?
You become an undesirable.
And
I use that harsh word because it's a harsh situation. It's a harsh situation where there's this really famous paper that talks about I forget who wrote it, but basically his overall thesis, it's a longer paper, but I'm going to try to summarize it, where he thinks that everybody is immoral. And the reason why he says that is because the majority of people don't give to charity. And in this day and age, there is not a single excuse one can give to not give to charity. You can't say that it's because you don't know about it. There's plenty of newspapers, there's plenty of things on the internet, there's plenty of articles. You probably scroll through plenty of people begging you to give them money all the time and you don't. You can't say that. You can't talk about like a thing about proximity, because what does that matter about proximity? Like, just because you're next to this person or you're not next to that person, that means that this person's like worthy of your assistance or not. Like, you need to be next to this person. You can't talk about like you don't have enough money because all of us spend money on things that we really don't need. Like, you can skip out on coffee for a week and spend that money giving it to charity. Like, you can do that, but we choose not to. We just don't. And a huge part of that paper is just saying, like, if you want to treat the world in a serious way and you don't want to be postmodern about it, everyone's immoral. If you don't give to charity, you are, because there's just not a single excuse you can give that is valid of why you're not giving.
So does it need to be a certain, you say charity, like it needs to be like some giant organization. What if my point would be like, what do you define as charity? Like giving back to others, would that be considered charity? Like, does it need to be like, I think make it seem like charity is like this giant.
It would have to be charity work, as in you're giving money to those in need. Like giving alms to those in need. If you're not doing that, then as he puts it, you'd be an immoral person. Would
you be? Let's just say like, would you be immoral if you wouldn't actively go out and look for it?
But his point is, you don't have to go out to do that.
I would argue, like, let's say like you come across an instance where you can do something. I feel like it's immoral to come across that situation and not do something.
But that's his point, though, is that in this day and age, 100% you see things.
Yeah.
You see, like 100%, like information goes through too quickly. Like, now you just, what you just said right now, you can't say that anymore because of the internet, because of the cell phone, the computer, and all these things. You know what's going on in the world. It's not a surprise to you that people are starving. It's not a surprise to anyone that people are starving. It's not a surprise that Ukraine and Russia are still at war. It's not a surprise that Israel and Palestine are still at war. It's not a surprise. All of these things are happening, and you know about it. And for you to not give charity, there's no way to go get around it. You're an immoral person. Mm-hmm. It's of course a very controversial paper. It's a very controversial paper, but I think about it very often.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But here's the thing. I think like that's definitely a fair point. I feel like most people in that aspect are definitely immoral. But like, then how do you? If we're all immoral, then what do you call the people that murder and still don't give the charity versus someone who doesn't murder?
Well, there's degrees of immorality. There's degrees of immorality. I think.
I'm not asking you like you wrote the damn paper. I'm just like to that idea. I'm not grilling you in any aspect.
No, but I think in the context you're under the impression that I kind of agree with the paper, and I kind of do.
Okay.
So, there's of course degrees of immorality. I think part of the paper that people don't like is that word immoral, because it kind of puts like a scarlet letter on your forehead and makes it seem like you're like guilty of all sins forever and ever, and you can't do anything about it. I don't think it's necessarily. You shouldn't think of it that way. It's more like immoral. What he's saying, it's just impossible to ethically reason with you not giving charity. It's just impossible. That's why he says. That's why he says everyone is immoral. So obviously he's not saying like everyone is like a murderer. That's not what he's saying. It's just that there's this one thing. There's this really big thing that no one does, but everyone should. If you want to take things seriously, but if you exist in a postmodern world, which we all do, it's easy to read that paper and like, even though he makes perfect sense, you realize there's no way of getting around it. I still disagree with you, just because I do. That's a very postmodern reaction to have, where you kind of disregard reasoning, you disregard any of that stuff. You're just like, I don't really care. You take it with less seriousness, and maybe even laugh it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I think about myself. And again, going back to the thing with the idea of Super-Sane, it's an interesting phrase. It's just an interesting phrase, and I just wonder, like, again, what does that mean?
I guess, like, I mean, I think I don't know if I said this or not, but I think it just depends on the interpretation. Like,
did Macbeth become super sane when Lady Macbeth died and he realized nothing mattered except for him being king?
No, I just like I guess like I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm asking you. I asked you that question because I just want you. I feel like super sane is just like I don't know if it just like I feel like it kind of is like a mix of like tragedy of like suffering to the point where you just see things differently, or could you argue that as like because people that are bored like insanity is just like not just at any point in your life you'd never know right from wrong. Super sane is like you did know at one point, but then it got to a point where you got so corrupted where just like you think that the typical moral wrong is now right because of what you suffered through in the past. Like I think it's like I think that's what I mean by like super. That was the idea. I don't agree with it personally, and if I made it seem like I did, I think I might have probably like worded it wrong.
Because I think in some connotations I would agree with it. If it's a very fictional character, like what's someone that I would say is super sane? Maybe the Punisher. Maybe the Punisher in a way is super sane. Because what he's doing is that he realizes how much evil there is, just like any other superhero does. He realizes all that stuff. But superheroes, like they keep saying, like, but you must not kill anyone. You must not do it because you'll revert to exactly how they are. I think his super sane.
I just got the definition.
His super sane attribute is like, no, that's just not true. I don't care if I'm going to do an immoral act. These people deserve to die. To me, that seems like it would be a super sane idea.
Super sane. Okay, so it's like doing immoral things, even though that there is a moral logic to it. Because I think that might be the definite. I don't know. That could be an interpretation. So I feel like the Punisher, because I feel like there's a logic to his immoralness, where it's like he's going to kill any criminal, no matter like any sort of context, just like blatantly kill them because they have done wrong in the past or present or future. Because he just kills criminals, simple, no matter what. And I feel like maybe Joker is super sane because the reason why and like especially the 2019 version, he's quote unquote super sane because we understand why, like he was corrupted. You know what I mean? There's an element of logic to why, like there's like he went on that talk show to tell his story to Murray, someone who he idolized, and he's just like okay, he turned into like almost like a public. Or in his mind, like a public service announcement for people that were apathetic towards the undesirables in society.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, that's the super sane could be like doing immoral things, but having once a moral background, or just maybe getting revenge or something. There's a logic to immoral things.
Mm. Yeah, it's
complex.
It's ambiguous morality. I just remembered Lord Byron. He's a really huge inspiration for superheroes.
Byron?
He made the Byronic Hero archetype, and the Byronic Hero archetype is just literally Batman. It's somebody who has a really dark past, somebody who has a kind of ambiguous morals that don't make immediate sense unless you know who the person is.
Yes.
It's someone who is open to doing things that would be traditionally considered immoral, but to reach a moral conclusion, he has to do some immorality. The Byronic Hero, I guess, could also be applied to like maybe a cowboy. It could be applied to a cowboy. I just remembered about that. So I think the Byronic Hero maybe connects to that idea of super sane.
Cowboy, yeah, that's true. Like there's something that's like, let's say like Arthur Morgan, for example, like in Red Dead, like we talked about this before. He has a great heart, right? And he really does have a true great heart. He cares for the people of his gang. He cares for Dutch, even though he's immoral. He cares for he has a sense of what do you call it, responsibility for the people he provides for. That's why he does everything he does, the bad and good, for the people of his gang, because he's loyal to a fault. If it wasn't for that gang, he would probably be a better person. AKA characters like what's her name, Mary? I think Mary, like their relationship. Like he is a good person because he is loyal to the people he cherishes. But I mean, I don't know if that's where you're going with that, but
I think it's just making me now think it's like, okay, well, now what's Arthur's like Super-Sane attribute? I think what his Super-Sane attribute is, I think his Super-Sane really depends on what context the character's in.
Dutch is a big part of it.
Because now in this context, it's not about Arthur doing an immoral act, for the sake of morality. I think what calls to me, what his Super-Sane attribute is that he refuses to be thanked, and he refuses anyone to praise him. I think that is his Super-Sane attribute, and the reason why is because he is so intimately involved with the evil world, because he comes from it. He comes from a bad place, and he knows that. He knows that very much, and he knows that no matter how many people he helps, he still killed a bunch of people. He still robbed a bunch of people. No matter what he does, he's always going to be that person. There's a part of him that's always going to be there. Mm-hmm. And that's why, even though he really does amazing things for certain characters, he always refuses to be thanked. He's always very aware of
his wrongdoings
of his own character. He's very aware of all of it. I feel like that speaks to me as like that's what his Super-Sane thing is.
Like he does good despite doing a bunch of bad.
Yeah.
That's the complexity. And I don't know.
That's why I stuck on that phrase. I've never heard it before.
Super-Sane.
I think the Byronic Hero is like what Super-Sane's getting at. The Byronic Hero, the ambiguous moral, the anti-hero, the anti-hero. I feel like that's probably what Super-Sane's getting at.
Pretty much, yeah. And just like I don't even know how I threw that out as like because I was kind of confused on it myself. Like when you're talking about Joker, there's Super-Sane versus insane. Like who is he really? And I just didn't even know what the hell Super-Sane was. But I think now it's like the anti-hero aspects or anti-villain aspects of doing things, like doing immoral things for just or moral reasons. Mm-hmm. That are like maybe that will benefit people in the future or not. Who knows?
Yeah, because like when you say insane, that obviously means that they don't make cohesive sense, right? That's what insane means. It's that someone doesn't make any sense when they speak, or their thoughts don't connect. There's like,
or they can't tell right from wrong.
Yeah, and there's no reason as to why, right? Like you wouldn't call Anton in No Control Man insane. He's not. That's the scariest part about him, is that he's not insane. He clearly has.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And then I feel similarly like with the word evil. I think it's I really try not to call like people evil. I'll call like ideas and places evil. But calling a person evil, I think that's like almost impossible. Only because I really like the expression of evil in something like the way, going back to St. Augustine, and the way Tolkien utilized that interpretation of evil, where evil just means like, in the Christian context, of course, it's when you're away from God. And the only way that good can ever happen in the world is if you are connected to God and you're doing things in the name of God. That's the only way, because, objective morality, right? Mm. So if you're not with God, it's just impossible to do good. So in a world without God, this person being without God, then they're letting themselves succumb to an evil world. And like, if you were to look at like an individual who is evil, I think it'd be someone like Sauron, Lord of the Rings, where Sauron stands for nothing. Like he's doing things for not just reasons like don't make sense. It's that there's never even an explanation provided. Yeah. There's never even explained. Like Sauron is just doing things to do them. And there's a void there. It's like when Frodo looks into the cauldron and he sees like all these events happening, and he sees Sauron like standing there, and he comes closer and he sees the pupil. It gets bigger and bigger and darker and darker. Yeah. And as he looks closer and he sees into the pupil, all he sees is a void of nothingness. And then that's evil. That's what that is.
Just doing evil for evil's sake.
Yeah.
Not having any sort of reason to it whatsoever. The biggest thing I really want to talk about is the Western genre. and how that is like hard to pull off modernly because you always have like I feel like a lot of westerns always have to for one be true to the time period, adhere to the constrictions of the time period, which is like lawlessness. It always deals with lawlessness. That's another thing, and maybe you can dip into like the cultural truths of like how the Wild West. I watched this video recently how it's just like the cowboy myth was just usually white dudes. Like there was only like a fraction of most cowboys or outlaws or whatever were white, and a lot of them were like black. A lot of them were Mexican, like vaqueros, stuff like that. Anyway, regardless of that, I just feel like a Western is really hard to pull off because you need to be able to tackle complex ideas of law and order in like any which way. But what are your thoughts on that?
The contemporary Western author needs to reconcile with the fact that the cowboy myth is dead.
Yes,
they need to be aware of that intimately. I think someone who is aware of that is Quentin Tarantino with Django, because that movie is a Western.
It is, yeah.
And I think his reconciliation with the death of the cowboy is that who's the cowboy in the movie? A slave. It's putting the gun in the hand of the person who'd usually be shot at in the older Westerns. And it's like it's true retribution. It's true retribution against true bad people and evil ideas. Or if you want to take it into a bleaker sense, we mentioned No Country, where the sheriff is somebody who's just like desperately trying to live in a world where cowboys still exist, but they just simply don't. And even worse is his realization at the end that it just never existed in the first place. Cowboys have never existed in the first place the way that he thought they did. In a similar way that knights never existed, and the way chivalry tells us they existed. Like knights weren't fucking honorable and noble and perfect to a T and always following God in the most truest
chivalrous.
Like they weren't like that. They sucked. A lot of them sucked. A lot of them were really bad people. And the same thing with
the
Cowboys.
Crusades.
Yeah, and the same thing with Cowboys.
Now, having that being established, I don't mean to cut you off, but how do you think this ties into? Because me and you both agree that Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best, like, modern... I mean, that best Western that was made in the modern era. Definitely up there. And it's through gaming format, which brings a whole nother multitude of depth and, era tackling, authenticity. And I feel like... And plus, it breaks down, at least the core story, at least. It breaks down the whole core of the Western genre. By tackling not just like the fucking stereotypical desert area, but it's really just the whole country of America or the United States. You can't outrun the law. It's just like that's what they're doing. They're always perpetually on the run. It's important. Like I love and first of all, I love the opening line. As soon as you boot up the game, it's like an 1899. Law is rapidly being established in most of the parts of America. There's always going to be like it's order is coming to the land finally at long last. But now we take then we enter, and then it makes no mistake in the beginning how it said that establishes the era of the cowboy is dead, but you play as a cowboy, and with an idealistic leader Dutch that just keeps instilling in you that these ideas of false hope and just delusions of grandeur. So what are your thoughts on that?
It gets kind of complicated when you get to a video game.
For sure.
It's people who don't take video games all that seriously and they only think about books or something. And they only want to talk about books. Or maybe someone could have the opinion that like films are more important than video games. Video games at the end of the day are just to entertain and have fun with, which is there's a very present truth in that statement, and I think someone can play Red Dead 2 and not really get all that emotional about Arthur's character. Somebody can play Red Dead 2 and just do whatever they want to do and lower their honor level to as much as they want to do, and they won't feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. Because when you're playing a video game, it's maybe sometimes easier to remember that all of this is who cares, not real. It's not real. Like, I personally, for whatever reason, I have never gone rogue in Red Dead 2. I've never just randomly shot people and randomly done things like that, because I feel horrible doing it.
And that's the point. Like, there's a reason. Like, every time you do dishonorable things, the entire world of Red Dead 2, like, no matter where you are, makes you repent for it. Just by having events that happen after you do certain thing. Let's say you go shoot up the whole town. When you come back, even after a long time, people will recognize you, even if you wear a mask or not a mask or whatever. That stuff lingers with you. People are chasing you all the time. It's the whole core of the game is that you can't outrun, you can't outrun your past in both games. Not even just the second one, the first one too.
The thing is about video games, though, is that what you just said is true. Only the people who care. Because at the end of the day, the game is supposed to be fun. Mm-hmm. And somebody can have fun just, I'm going to go rob the bank. You can do that. You can just go rob the bank or rob the train or just shoot up a city because you're just bored. Someone could just do that and have fun doing that. And in this moment, because cowboys are cool. The aesthetic of a cowboy is cool. It kind of reminds me of the game Cyberpunk. Mm. The aesthetic of Cyberpunk, it's really cool and awesome. And a lot of people may play that game and the main thing that they care about is just the skill tree and the gameplay of it, and making V into this kind of character, making into that kind of character, and doing all these things because it's fun. And maybe someone wouldn't care all that much about the story itself. And granted, I don't fully know the story of Cyberpunk, so I never finished it.
Yeah.
But what I do know is the book that it's based off of, Neuromancer. The whole point of Neuromancer and the cyberpunk genre, and in a way, they're also hypocritical, because the cyberpunks at that time, including William Gibson, kind of thought of themselves as much grander than they maybe really were. They saw it as if they were the top. It's weird because when you attach yourself to the word punk, you are inevitably forcing yourself to be in opposition of whatever is popular. That's what you are if you're a punk. So it kind of almost means you stand for nothing in a very rude way.
Okay.
But ignoring his a little pompous attitude towards the whole thing, Neuromancer, the novel, you never read this book and ever get the sense that what's going on is cool, if that makes sense. You never feel like you read about Case, who's basically V. You read about Case, and he's addicted to drugs because there's so much of it in Night City. It's called the same thing. There's so much of it in Night City that what else is there to do? And when he's a hacker guy, and at some point he gets banned from using it because he just fucked with people that he shouldn't have, and they kind of cut off his access to it forever. And there's this really there's this moment where he's laying in bed when he's pretty drugged out, and he closes his eyes, and all he can see is the Matrix and the lattices of code and all of these things, and he just thinks about it, and he wants nothing more than to be in it again. Because the way William Gibson was envisioning it was you're literally inside of cyberspace, which in a way is very abstractly true. Mm-hmm. But Case is having this vision, and he's holding out his hand, trying to reach for the deck, which is a keyboard. He's reaching for it, and he desperately needs it. He's yearning for it so badly, and that sort of tone is carried throughout the novel, where it's this world of hyper, techno corporations and hyper capitalism and extreme avenues of entertainment everywhere and all these things. You never once read it and I want to be here. That's this is cool. This is awesome. But when you play the game Cyberpunk, when you play that game, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, and I think Cyberpunk as a genre has become more of an aesthetic thing, rather than like a critique of the technology that's happening. So, William Gibson wrote about like the E3 reveal of Cyberpunk, where Keanu Reeves comes out. And he's like, "Oh, big superstar guy. Like he's gonna play as like a big guy. And he's gonna play Johnny Silverhand." Ironically, Johnny Silverhand's the guy who hates all of this shit. He's the one who really hates all of it. I think he is the cyberpunk in the game. He's cyberpunk. He's the real cyberpunk in the game.
Okay.
But it's played by this guy Keanu Reeves, who like makes all this money. He's like a big superstar and all these things. And I'm only saying all of this in the perspective of William Gibson. This is what he was thinking. He's saying all these things, and like he wrote that he couldn't help but see like a deeply perverse expression of the world that he built, where it's like, why are you guys celebrating this? You're not supposed to want
They lost the point.
Yeah, like you're not supposed to want this. Like this feels weird. Why are people excited to play this game where like you're going to live in the world that I created? And it's like, so it's a really interesting thing. I think a similar thing happens in Red Dead 2.
Yeah. So you're arguing the point that like because it's a game, we can't like truly like understand like how tragic of a period, like let's say Cyberpunk and Red Dead 2, like they're both set in worlds that are still to be desired. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of unfairness. There's still a lot of cruelty. There's still a lot of like order that's like not that exercises their powers, through corporations in Cyberpunk or through the law in Red Dead 2, like through like, the Pinkertons are kind of just like do whatever, like the Pinkertons in Red Dead 2 and then like the US government in Red Dead 1, they're both people that like, yes, they stand for law and order, but like, they're going about it in a cruel way by exterminating everyone who committed crimes regardless of what they've tried to done to make up for it. Or just like, they just kind of embody the ideas like you can't outrun your own actions and you can't outrun your actions, when it comes to, especially when you invoked like such like harsh hardships on everybody else. Or like, I just feel like you're trying to draw a parallel between the both of them because like you won't truly be able to appreciate it because it's a video game and you can kind of like have that agency.
It's not about that the game itself is inherently not able to appreciate it, but there is a very, if you treat it seriously enough, which again this is I think a new sincerity way of kind of looking at it, where it's like a I keep bringing up these like annoying phrases, but like I think there's no other way to like describe it. New sincerity or postmodern, kind of the same thing, where there is this really perverse thing about it with a video game where you need to buy a console that costs like $500 or have a computer that can run the damn thing and that's like costs $700 or whatever.
Yeah,
and you need to buy the video game that costs like $60. And then the video game's probably going to come with the DLCs. They're going to cost you like about $40 more. And at the end of the day, and ultimately the game is like supposed to be like a thing where it's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a fun thing. It's a form of escapism. It's I think video games, of course, they can give you a story. I'm not saying that they can't, but they have this attribute to them that movies and books do not have. Where if somebody doesn't care about all that stuff, they're just going to play the game because it's fun. And there's nothing wrong with that because video games are meant to be fun. But there is always that weird simultaneous existence where there's people who are taking it very seriously and there's people who are just treating it like a video game, and they should. It's a video game. But
I mean, yes, that's true. Like, I mean, but I feel like I feel like Red Dead 2, like everything you're saying is true. I agree. Like, at the end of the day, it's a fucking game. You pay upwards of tens of hundreds of dollars to fucking on consoles gear.
I don't mean to make it seem like that. I don't mean to make it seem like at the end of the day I don't care. At the end of the day, it's the video. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that video games have that added attribute to them where someone can just treat it
can lose the point because they're just looking to get their.
It's just supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be a fun thing to do.
But I just feel like Red Dead in particular too, or Red Dead 2 in particular, it's one of those games where I think everybody agree with, like, in that sentiment where it's like, oh, everyone's just who's played it before is like, oh, it's just so much fun. It's like, oh, what a great world we live in, or in game. And then you play it again, like for people that, because like there's something about that game, like there's something to be said about like how a game can just make you think in ways where you weren't expecting to. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's why I feel like that conversation, like the what do you call it, the literary merit of the story. I feel like I saw like these people, the actors that worked on the game, like they were talking about the script was like 1,000, 20,000, like tens of thousands of pages long. They recorded like all, even the NPCs like have like certain interactions where it's just like they're supposed to relay that, even they, like those small little like instances in the game, like they're supposed to relay the theme of like, you know, like karma and like, and just, you know, honor, like the whole honor system, and just like, you know, just having everything reflect back onto you as a person, which is why I feel like the system, like the honor system in that game is so profound, because it just kind of plays, like you can get two different outcomes. Your Arthur can be different anytime you play. If you don't do anything, if you do some bad things, if you do good things, regardless of what happens, same thing will happen. But it just like the emotional impact hits different, because if you don't, let's say you don't have a high honor, well, he probably just won't hit as much because you're just a bad person. Whereas like, it's like you very much create the world around you, which I feel like that is like perfect, is a perfect way to represent the theme of the game through gameplay without even realizing it. Because it's like you yourself have a role in like the story, and I just feel like that's just something that that's something that not a lot of games can do well, and I feel like it does it well. But and then that's not even talking about like the great writing about the characters, and then like, you know, the way it's paced and stuff like that. You know, but that's a whole other thing.
I think the game that I enjoy the most when it comes to that, where the things you do matter. And again, a video game has the added context where it's for fun. The game's supposed to be for fun. Mm-hmm. And I think a game that really throws that in your face is Dishonored. And the reason why is because Dishonored doesn't really... I think it does warn you a little bit that the things you do is going to change Dunwall. The things you do is going to make things appear more often. Like maybe if you kill more people, more rats are going to appear. Or maybe if you kill more guards, then there's going to be more security. But it doesn't warn you that if you kill everyone, you keep killing people, you're going to get the worst ending. It doesn't warn you about that. It doesn't give you. It doesn't have like an honor system like Red Dead 2 has, where it's constantly, you know, it's right there in your face.
It's telling you
doing things, you're going to get a worse ending. Obviously, that's what that whole meter is supposed to mean. But in Dishonored, it doesn't tell you that. So and also Dishonored is a very fun game. Like the way the abilities work, like talking to the outsider is the only way to gain all these abilities and to upgrade all these things. And almost all of the abilities are regarding killing people. Almost all the abilities are about killing people, which is fun to do in the video game. But you don't know in your first playthrough that you doing that, you having fun. The whole point of the game is that Corvo's trying to convince people he's not a murderer. That's the whole point of the game, because he's being framed for killing the queen. He's being framed for doing that. And once you reach the end of the game, now I think on first playthroughs everyone gets the bad ending, because you just want to have fun and play the game and not worry about that stuff. But then when you reach the end, it kind of hits you. It's like you don't think about it because it's a video game. It's meant to be fun. You just assume, like, even though I'm killing hundreds of people, it doesn't really matter, because this is
just
the
game,
gameplay
right?
and the story are separated.
Yeah.
But then you get to the ending, and then like it really does hit you, where it's like
it calls the player out
to prove that I'm a murderer. I just murdered everyone in my path.
Yeah, it calls the player out, because it's aware that it's a game, and the player wants to like, and the writers I think, well, you know, the people who wrote the ending just are aware that it's a game, that, you know, they're going to call out the player for just doing bad things, which is, I think, is a good narrative tool.
Mm-hmm.
That can only be found in games, because like, you know, because like I feel like games like that, where it involves the player and like your actions, is like something that's very is a good, you know, very immersive piece of like, you know, narrative tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually did not know that. I played that game a little bit, never finished it, but I didn't know that was the ending.
Yeah, it's like the good ending is if you neutralize everyone, all the people that are like a part of this big scheme to frame you. You neutralize them, like you get rid of them in a way that doesn't end up them dying. And by the end of it, you expose like this big recording, where the real person who killed them admits it, and you play it on the speaker. You play on the speaker so like everyone in Dunwall hears it. But you can only do that if you didn't kill everyone. Because if you killed everyone, then whether or not Dunwall knows you didn't actually kill the queen, at the end of the day, there's a pile of bodies behind Corvo. So what the fuck does Dunwall care anymore?
Doesn't even matter
whether you killed the queen or not. You just killed all these people. And I think that game. I think about that game the most. Where like the whole choices matter things. Red Dead 2, of course, also does a really good job of it. But the reason why I think the reason why I like Dishonored so much in that regard is because it doesn't warn you very much. It doesn't warn you, and it came out during a time where games didn't really do that, where a choices matter kind of thing. So it surprises the player when it turns out that what I did in the game mattered. In Red Dead 2, it's expected because it teaches you the honor system from the beginning, and then if you care or not, that's up to you. If you care or not, it's whatever.
Okay. That's a good fucking point. I'm not gonna lie. Like honestly, I feel like the player's agency is. I just love games where it just like involves the player's actions and it helps shape the narrative. But besides that, like I want to break this. I want to get like a little bit into character territory here. For like, I think Dutch Vanderlyn as a character in Red Dead 2 is like very like. It's very controversial because people are saying that Micah, well, he is the truest villain of the game. He's the most unapologetically evil guy, which I don't know, which is like very true. Everyone just kind of gives him like the villain card of the game, where I feel like Dutch is kind of like left off the hook. Where do you think Dutch was always a bad person, or do you think he's a good person?
He's obviously bad, but yeah. I think they're all bad though.
They're all bad.
I think, but if I'm gonna give a less boring answer. I think I do think Micah's worse than Dutch.
He is worse than Dutch.
I do think Micah is like ultimately worse than him. I feel like if you were to compare it to Blood Meridian, which I think Red Dead 2 has like an immense amount of inspiration from.
Totally.
Micah is Judge Holden, and I think Dutch is Glanton, where Glanton is the leader of the gang in Blood Meridian, and then Judge is like, it's the same thing. Judge is just like one of the members of the group, but Judge the entire time is whispering in Glan's ear.
Bro, no way. Is that actually what happens in the fucking book?
And that's really what's happening in Red Dead 2 as well. The entire time, Micah's the one who's
reading books pays off, guys.
Micah's the one who's also whispering. There's this really unsettling part, and there's plenty of unsettling parts in Blood Meridian, but there's this one part where the judge is giving like one of his usual speeches about like war is the only thing that could ever be like treated with a capital T truth, because as much as two people can disagree, if one person kills the other, who's going to disagree with them now? Nobody. That's the only way that you could ever have like a concrete I won is if I kill you.
So tying that into is there an I won moment in Red Dead 2, you think, in your opinion?
Yes. And
John killing Micah?
No, it's the complete other way around. It's where Arthur has a peaceful death.
Okay, the fact that you say that, no, listen to this. Okay,
it's him refuting the judge.
It's him refuting the judge.
Refuting everyone.
Based on your honor level, I love how this is just another Glaze moment, but I love how if you choose a good ending, Arthur ascends. Ascends like trying to like make the most. It's just an acknowledgement of everything you've done, all the good actions, which is like giving your hat to John, defending upholding like your morals, even despite everything you've done in the past. Like you see clearly now, with this newfound clarity, he helps John, does the right thing, ensures his safety, right? And then he still dies like at the hands of Micah, the judge or whatever. He still refuses him, dies tragically but peacefully. And then when he chooses the negative option, he descends down the mountain, which is like, it can be an allegory for heaven or hell, if you think about that. Ascends, like it gets closer to God, which is, and they keep saying it's a reoccurring thing that God's in front of God is like the earth, because it's a very natural and very pro nature game. It's a beautiful game. So like they keep, and then even John refers to God as the earth that's around him because everyone appreciates the earth because of the country. Mm-hmm. Anyway, like I just love that little like that parallel between heaven and hell when he just descends down the mountain that's dragging himself. It just proves that like Arthur is still a bad person. He still went for the money to try to like he still hated Micah, but he also just valued money over his company.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's also really like I feel like that's the whole mission was also really great as well. But anyway, back to what you were saying.
I forgot, but
just like the I-1 moment, like the whole judge. The judge.
Oh
moment,
yeah.
Judge Holden.
But he doesn't say "I won" to somebody. It's just like during his speech about war, being like that's the only time that someone could like really win in a way that you cannot argue with. In a way that you cannot argue with it.
Yeah.
Because if you just kill everyone you disagree with, who's gonna argue with you?
And I've never read Blood Meridian, but I'm going to. That's like the next thing I'm gonna read after like probably I'll read over break or something.
And I haven't spoiled anything. Well, I have a little bit, but
you read it a couple times.
I meant spoiled.
Oh, spoiled. Yeah,
I haven't spoiled anything. Because there's still a lot more to the book that I haven't said.
Good, because I want to go into it kind of blind, even though.
But there is this one scene I do want to bring up. It's this really haunting scene that the judge does.
I've heard that Judge Holden is one of the most evil characters in fiction.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get too much into it. Again, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I do think going back to what I was saying earlier, where like you wouldn't say Anton is evil. At least I wouldn't, because he does have like a set of rules that make sense to him.
Yes.
The judge, he has a sense of emptiness to him.
It's like the Sauron thing, where he does things just for evil's sake, sees nothing.
Mm-hmm. He has that sense to him where it feels like it's dreadful. It is a dreadful feeling, and I think evil inspires dread. But there's just one moment where the judge, there's like an ex-priest that's a part. I think his name's Tobin. I don't remember what his name was, but there's like an ex-priest who's a part of the group.
Keep going. Just gotta check. Okay, we're good. Keep going.
There's an ex-priest who's a part of the group. And of course, that's ironic. A priest is following like the fucking most mentally degraded cowboy group ever. And
Jesus.
The priest, the priest is like trying to talk to Judge, saying like, I don't like you. I don't like the way you think. I don't like all these things you're trying to push on us. You're not me. I don't care what you say. There's nothing that like I'll ever do. Like I'm not gonna listen to you. And then the judge just laughs at that response because for him he's like I don't want to get too much into it, but for him he just tells him, he's like, you've already done all I would have ever wanted you to do.
The judge tells him that?
You've already done everything I wanted you to do. And the priest of course doesn't know what that means. but yeah, it's a haunting fucking position because like it's similar to Micah. Micah, he's not friendly with. He's not friends with Dutch.
He's not.
He doesn't really care about Dutch.
He uses him as a tool because
he's using him for something else. Micah has his own thing that he's going for. Who knows what it is? But he's just pushing Dutch around as he's pushing everyone else around. And I think Arthur realizes that. Well, I mean, if you play him a certain way, he realizes that. I guess everyone realizes that Micah is just like a fucking wolf among this group of murderers. Which is,
he's the only one that I will give Micah this. He's the only one that's aware of who he is and what the gang is. Truly,
well, Arthur is too.
That's true, but Micah is just like he's always been that way. Where it's just like I mean, Arthur's different because he actually has things he cares about outside of the gang. Micah just does everything he does just to perpetuate his lifestyle of being an outlaw.
Is Micah self-aware? Self-aware about what? What do you mean by self-aware?
There's this one line where you go. I can't quote the whole thing, but I think there's this mission where you with Arthur, you play as Arthur, you go with Micah to rob a coach, and
I know
it's
what you're
like,
talking about.
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like he said something where just like, I would like all of us to like do this, to do all this together, and live up to everything that Dutch is saying, but I'm not holding my breath. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then like I'm like, that's probably like the most realist line he's probably ever said in the whole game. Mm-hmm. And people there's actually a lot of people that draw parallels from Micah to Arthur a lot because they are pretty similar. Yeah, he even says it in the story. He's like, I mean, you and I are pretty. I've always looked up to you, Arthur, even though he's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
because like he deep down, I think he does want to. He wants to be Arthur's role, and he does actually embody Arthur's role. But he does. He still is a horrible person because Micah is everything Arthur. Is the worst parts of Arthur amplified. If he wasn't loyal, if he didn't have a need to care for his the loved ones in the camp, you know what I mean? If he's pretty much Micah's Arthur if he didn't have anybody to care for. If he only looked out for himself.
The first scene you see is him. You break him out of jail, and as you're walking through the town, he's like, "Hold on, I have to go into this house.
Get my guns."
See through the window, and he fucking kills.
Yep.
People. Who knows who they were?
Husband and wife, I think.
Yeah, he just does that, and like I remember, like when you play that part, I feel like every player when they play that part,
disgusting.
Even though you've already killed way more people than 2 in the game by that point.
Totally.
But you never feel that way. But when you see Micah do it in the way that he did it, it's like, what the fuck? It's like it feels real. It feels very real in that moment. It kind of reminds me of like The Last of Us, where have you played Last of Us?
I haven't.
I can't talk about it at all then because it's the ending.
I know what happens. Like I know Ellie's on the goddamn table, and Joel selfishly chooses her life over the lives of a bunch of other people. I know the ending, but I just don't know like what happens between that point.
In the TV show and the video game have the exact same ending, right? It's the same ending. It's just the same thing. It's what you just said. And part of the ending is Joel shooting up the hospital.
Oh, jeez.
To get to everyone. When you do it in the video game, maybe this is just me. When you do it in the video game, again, it's a video game, so gameplay has to be fun. The gameplay has to be fun. So it's like it's very like Uncharted, kind of stuff. Like it's cover
big action spectacle.
It is
shootout.
It's a cool gameplay system that it has. So when you're playing that part of the hospital, one, you feel very motivated, I think, to do what Joel is doing, and you want to save Ellie. You're on his side more because you don't look at killing as with much seriousness as killing should be looked at in the real world because it's a game. And you've already killed hundreds of people, so like, what does 20 more matter?
I would argue it's worse than The Last of Us because like the people are limited. You know what I mean? It's like. And I think it's something to be said that, I mean, I've never played the fucking game, but like you're against zombies or like some sort of shitty mushroom zombie, and
you mean like killing people in a zombie apocalypse situation? Yeah. That's always a given. Yeah, that's always something that's like
but keep going.
But yeah, you do that whole thing, and I don't know. When I played it, maybe it's only me. I didn't feel as bad. I didn't feel as bad about it. Seeing that happening, but in the TV show. I think Joel and Ellie together probably kill like a handful of people. Maybe like 2 handfuls of people. You can count on your 2 hands how many people they both kill combined in this show.
So it's not nearly as much.
Because it's like one, it's trying to be more. It's trying to be more realistic. Where obviously, how many people can a dad and a daughter or a dad and a little girl really kill?
Realistically,
in a realistic, probably not that much. So when the killings happen, the deaths happen, they have more weight to them. But what is still there is the hospital shooting. And now in the TV show, you don't have the context of a video game where you kill a bunch of people for the sake of fun gameplay. Very few people were killed. So now when Joel, hits the guy that's trying to guard him out of the hospital, escort him out of the hospital, and he hits him and he kills him, and now he takes the gun and he's killing all these people, and like because so many shots are going off, you start hearing like ringing. And you're watching this scene play out, and it really hits you now, I think, harder than it does in the video game, where it's like he's literally, he's committing a mass shooting. He's killing all these people for his own very selfish reason, and it's like, I think, more horrifying in the TV show than it was in the video game.
Because of that like auditory motif, and so without the context of being a video game where it could be fun to shoot a bunch of people, now you strip all of that down to just the action.
It becomes a lot more real. It's kind of like the violence that I haven't seen it, but I would assume the violence that Joker commits in the Dark Knight trilogy is significantly less impactful than the one person. No, well, he kills more people, but than like the 4 people that Joker kills in 2019. Every kill that Joaquin Phoenix does in that movie feels like so impactful, and your heart literally drops when it happens.
That's true. In Dark Knight, he blows up a hospital.
And the violence in the Dark Knight, it's more comic book. It's like in a more comic book context, so it doesn't hit you that hard. Like people are dying, but it doesn't hit you that. And then when you watch like Marvel movies like Infinity War and all these things, like these huge battles are happening. Guaranteed 100% people are dying during that. When cars are being tossed around, buildings are fucking collapsing, all these things, people are dying, obviously, but it's a movie, and like you forget about that because it is the point. But when you put it into a realistic context, that's kind of like why earlier the whole Super-Sane thing, I'm hesitant to apply that to a real thing or a realistic character, because like it there's a shift in tone. Yeah, there's a shift in tone that it's not appropriate anymore to use certain ideas for characters. But yeah, I guess that all connects to what I was saying earlier about video games, is that they always have that added aspect where they're meant to be fun.
And so it can kind of bolster some things you don't already notice about like some narratives, like aka player agency being a role, or it can also it can desensitize you to violence, like in the Last of Us final shootout. That's actually pretty good. That's why I like how games are getting more adaptations, where it's just like there's some really good stories in some of these games, man.
And I think at the end of the day, the video game Last of Us is infinitely better than the show. But that was one moment where it hit me, like because the context changed, because the mode changed, where it's not a video game anymore, it's a TV show now. That scene with the hospital shooting felt so much heavier in the show than it felt in the video game. Maybe that's only me.
No, honestly, I can definitely see that. Like, it sounds a lot more dramatic, and for good reason, and it makes sense. If you're saying that Joel never killed anybody before, prior to that hospital scene, it just it goes to show
he did kill people. It's just not as
much, not as malicious,
nowhere near as many as in the game.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But
I don't know. You got anything else?
I'm trying to remember what that whole.
It was kind of. We're just tying it back into Red Dead 2.
It was about Micah and Arthur.
Micah being kind of literally being Judge Holden, from what you're telling me.
He's the. Of course, it isn't the same, because again, this whole realism thing, I think it applies here also. It isn't literally the same thing. Like, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison,
but based.
But if you were to say which character's who, then I think Micah's Judge. I think Dutch is Glenn. I think Arthur's the kid, but Arthur does something that the kid could have never done, and I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it, but I think if you were to apply that character, I think the kid is Arthur.
Who's John?
He doesn't really exist.
John's his own thing.
Yeah, which makes sense, because John is Red Dead 1. I think Red Dead 2 is infinitely more inspired by Meridian than Red Dead 1 is.
Honestly, I played it recently. It might be recency bias. Red Dead 1 is super. It's so weird. It's just everything is just it's all about John in the first game, which makes sense. But in 2, it's just I feel like they're trying to tackle the giant deconstruction of a Western, whereas Red Dead 1 is just kind of a tragedy wrapped in a Western.
Mm-hmm.
About you can't there's so much sins. How can you wash away so much red? You know what I mean? No dead, no redemption. But
yeah, it's like Macbeth's speech. Can all of Neptune's ocean wash the blood from my hands?
Exactly. You can't do it, man. And just and the whole Agent Ross is just it's pretty. Every scene where Agent Ross is the person that's ordering John to go and fix all those things, and it captured Javier Escuela, capture Dutch, or kill Dutch really, and then capture Bill Williamson, all those people that I used to ride with. It just it makes you wonder, just how morally gray John is, especially in Mexico. It's if circumstances were different, sometimes if you think about it, you really can't tell if John is would go back to there. And even the first thing that Abigail says when he goes back to his family is oh, you didn't go back I thought you went back to them. Because I think John is way different than Arthur, because he has that level of rage and darkness in him.
Yeah, he does.
But if it wasn't for his family, he probably would just be he'd probably be exactly like
the the redemption part feels it's more
It's an
about
irony.
John than it is Arthur. And of course it is, because Red Dead Redemption 1 is only John. Yeah, like that redemption part, it doesn't really have to do with Arthur, because Arthur doesn't really care about redemption.
I feel like the redemption actually applies to Arthur more than John, because redemption is used like it's almost used ironically, because as if he can wash away all your sins. In the first game, at least.
That's true. I was thinking of redemption. I always think of that word redemption applying more to John, because John cares more about revenge. He cares more about like revenge and avenging people. I mean, like, you know, like that scene where, like, you know, Red Dead 2 in the prologue where he's holding the gun to that guy.
Yeah,
like saying,
recreating the first shot
and killing him. He cares a lot more about revenge
totally
than Arthur does. I mean, in the prologue, in the epilogue, John is the one who does what Jack did in the first one. John is the one who goes back and avenges Arthur. And then Jack is the one who goes and avenges
John. Yeah. But then the cycle begins anew all over again with Jack.
And then with Arthur, all he really cared about was he just wanted to die in peace.
He wanted to try. He wanted to at least try.
He wanted to. What he did in that moment, staying back, it's more about helping John run away than him really caring about killing Micah. I feel like in that situation, he didn't really care about killing Micah. Like whether he wins or not, he didn't care about that. What he cared about was like, John, just leave, get out of here. You have a family. You can redeem yourself. I can't.
It's like what the nun tells him in the train mission, like, right? And the side mission where he's just like, take a gamble that love exists and then do a loving act.
Yeah.
And then that's what he did that at the very end.
It's an act that's not about revenge or avenging anything. It's not about that at all.
And it got to the core of what Arthur believes in, whether he realized it or not. Like I think he did realize that at the end, especially if he chooses the good ending. But he loves he's loyal because he loves the gang. Like he was in the gang because he loves the people that raised him, not because like he enjoyed anything. Clearly, he doesn't enjoy like the fact that he murdered a bunch of people. It's very apparent that he doesn't. In fact, he wouldn't be so racked with he still did it, and he hates himself for the fact that he did do it, and he suffers for it because like one of those people he helped put down and beat up gave him tuberculosis, gave him the Black Death or whatever, and and he pays for it, and then giving his hat to John, that encapsulated a lot of like, okay, I was able to do something good in my last moments of life. And that's why I feel like Arthur's definitely a better person than John, but I feel like I still love John to death. I really do. But I think Arthur's just way better written. Not that was the point I was trying to make, but I just feel like I feel like the redemption part definitely goes to Arthur more so than John.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying. It is true. Redemption does not have to involve revenge. I just always think of it in that context, specifically for that game, just because I just have that image of John so much in my head.
Yeah.
And then both the endings are about avenging each other.
Vengeance is definitely a part of it. I think that maybe the red part might be the revenge.
Red Dead Redemption.
That's just my opinion.
It feels like Red Dead Redemption is like it's like what Jack does at the end of the game. Is what it feels like.
Yes,
it is. But also at the same time, it's also about all the people that John goes and confronts, all the old members of the gang, especially Dutch when he just like fucking jumps off the cliff.
John will actually. And now I think about it, he was trying. You're right. Like he was trying to like chase redemption because like he like foolishly thought that doing this for the government that was his atonement for everything he's done in the past. When in reality, like the guy, Agent Ross, and pretty much everyone else tells him like, oh, you like, do you really think you can wash away that much? You know what I mean? You can't do it. It's impossible. But like, at least he tried. I guess that's the redemption part for John. And I feel like at the end, like instead of going with his family, like when he walks out the barn door.
Well, I suppose in a way, John did the same thing Arthur did, actually. Because John's only doing all that stuff because he's trying to save his family.
Totally.
That's the only reason why he's doing all that stuff.
That was the one.
He wouldn't go after all of the old gang members if he
The
didn't
government didn't-
have the government holding his family.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually I didn't think about that. John's really doing the same thing Arthur's doing, and at the very end, when he sends off his family, right?
He does, yeah. He sees them off.
When the Pinkertons are there, he sends them off. He does the same thing Arthur did. He just like confronts it, and it's not about because he knows he's not going to be able to kill everyone. He's just like, you guys go. It's me. I'm the problem. I have to just stay here
and take my punishment.
And take what's coming to me. He opens that door, and you can shoot as many of them you can. There's too many of them. There's too many. That's sins there.
That's so sick.
There's too many sins there. He can't be absolved of all of them, and he just gets shot. He dies.
I love how they made that like the gameplay aspect as a representation of like everything you can't outrun. Like all those fucking soldiers there, as like it's like every like you're saying like they kind of like embody all that darkness. You can't shoot it away. You can't shoot your way out of this one.
Yeah,
but it's like. You can't fucking outgun the army, but like if people, I love how people are like making the arguments like, "Oh, John has done way better. Like he can obviously kill all those people." I was like, "Bro, that's not the point."
But think about it though. That goes along with what I'm saying. That conversation only happens because it's a video game.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why that point gets brought up, and it is a very like real thing. You know, it's like I prefer it if people would treat video games seriously all the time, but it's impossible to do that. I mean. How do you treat Tetris with any seriousness? How do you treat I can't think of like any game.
Yo, that one orange block in Tetris, that shit's deep, bro. It's diving.
Yeah, there's plenty of video games that have like no meaning to them whatsoever because like at the end of the day, it's just escapism. It's just for fun. That's all it is.
But to your point though, before you go, I mean, you're right. I agree with you on that point. But I feel like the fact that even the people that argue like, oh, he could have like outgunned all those people in that one final shootout at the barn. I think it means something that like it's like I like to think that he could have actually killed all those people, but he chose not to because he just wanted to see his family off, and it's like he knew that like even if he did kill all those people, he would have still there would have been somebody else to be sent after him. You know what I mean? He could not, no matter what he did, he can't gun his even if he could win that fight in a gunfight, it still would have been the same thing happening again, just delaying the inevitable.
Come back after him.
It would just exactly. There'll be another Ross. There'll be more armies. Like you can't outgun the government. You know what I mean? You can't outgun change. You can't fight your own nature. And then Judge jumps off the cliff,
which is exactly what happens in The Last of Us. It's exactly the same thing that happens in The Last of Us, where Joel, when he leaves the hospital, he puts Ellie in the car. There's one Firefly left, and it's like the leader. And the Firefly's like the group that wanted to save the world with Ellie. She's like bleeding to death. She's crawling, and then Joel's about to like kill her because she's the last one left. And she's like, "Wait, it's like, dude, you don't have to kill me. Stop. You don't have to kill me. I'm not gonna do anything. Just leave me alone." And then Joel tells her that you would just come after her, and he shoots her. But the whole point of Last of Us 2 is that he didn't get all of them. There's still more. There's still plenty of people who are hurt by what happened.
It doesn't matter,
and they come for him anyways, and he dies. But the whole thing of revenge is. Have you seen that movie? I Saw the Devil.
No, I heard about that. That's the most people say it's the most depraved revenge movie of all time.
I think it's the most real revenge movie of all time. Because. I don't want to. I mean, you haven't seen it yet.
But I want to watch that. I I Saw the Devil.
But it treats revenge. Doesn't get you anything. Revenge just doesn't get you anything.
There's a lot of movies like that.
It doesn't make you feel any better. I think I Saw the Devil is really great in doing that though, because, dude, the way that he tries to get his revenge, it is like that movie is. The fantasy that somebody has when they want to get revenge. What he does to the guy, he's trying his absolute hardest to make him feel the pain he does, but it just doesn't matter.
No,
I like that movie a lot for that reason, because he puts the guy who caused him pain in so much pain, but it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
It's never gonna change the fact that
at the very actually
don't spoil it though,
dude. Man, I love that movie. It was really good actually.
Yeah, do you wish you
But,
could have put that on your top 5?
No,
Okay, that's good.
maybe 10. But
Fair enough. The guy from Squid Game's on that one. I know that. This is the front man speaking. He's also.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is the main. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's the main character. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, bro, honestly, that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm not even kidding. Unless you have something else you want unless you got something else to say.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I think
I don't see what your apprehension was. I feel like you did a great job of explaining everything.
it's because I will 100% be unsatisfied with the answers I provided if I look back on it. Because there are some things that I haven't thought about that deeply yet.
Well, this I guess is a proper. I never really recorded a proper introduction to the channel before, much less a podcast. But hi, my name is Reklaw, or my real name is Cole, but channel name's Reklaw, and yeah, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the On Blast podcast. It rhymes. You see that I did there? No. This can be the start of something amazing, and I really hope you guys enjoy what I put out. Bottom line, this is as much your channel as it is mine. So what's mine is yours, pretty much. I want this to be a safe place for anybody in the comments or out there to share what we talk about, me and my friends talk about with their family members, their friends, so it can encourage them creatively. And that's all I'm here to do, is just share my perspective and inspire people. You know, that's what we're here to do. Anyway, I'm yapping too much, but if you like what I do, if you like what I talk about, what content I make, please like and subscribe. And bear with me on my journey because I'm still figuring all this stuff out, but I'd very much like to continue this. And I've just started. I'm making some shorts, doing all that stuff, but I feel like this can be the start of something really fantastic, and I hope you guys bear with me. I've been Reklaw. See y'all later. Also, if you see me scratching my neck, I'm not on crack. I'm just a very hairy dude. So if you see me scratching my neck, I'm not a crack addict or a drug addict. I'm just scratching my neck because it's a little itchy. It's a little hot in here because the window is closed. Okay. I'm gonna stop this now.